All right, we're out here. This is the John Hicks interview. And, before I even tell you anything about John Hicks, all you really need to know is that the esteemed co-host that he has here says quite a bit about this young man. He's got his good friend Xavier Wulf, as well as BMX superstar Nigel Sylvester by his side.
Is mic working?
Yep, you're good. John, how'd you meet both of these guys?
Shoot, I met Nigel back when I was 18 through Glenn Milligan, out in Miami, actually. Mm-hmm. That was an interesting trip, but we could talk about later. But, yeah, that's how I met Nigel. And then Xavier actually met here at the OSS store. Uh-huh. As a matter of fact, back in, March of 2014.
Yep. That was it.
Yeah, with Bones and Chris Travis and
Eddie Baker. That was the first time we met all of them.
At the same time, so that's kind of crazy to look back in that retrospect.
That was a great day. So what drew you to him, Nigel? What made you decide that this was the guy that you wanted to work with on a lot of your upcoming projects?
It was
put it right on the spot there.
He was young and hungry, man. To tell you the truth, I like to surround myself with motivated individuals, people who want to get it, man.
Yeah. And John Hicks, he's got a lot of that in him. You guys got kind of similar style, too. You guys both, you could roll up in the club together. You wouldn't look too out of the ordinary together, I don't think.
You know what I mean?
Could be part of the posse together.
Yeah.
Xavier, what about when you first met John? Did you realize right away that you were going to be working with him on videos and everything?
Yeah, I mean, once I saw the Stevie video and Brandon's video first before anybody else, I might add. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was like, damn, this shit's amazing, bro. And then I understood, I saw what he was doing and saw where his mind was and where he was going with his art, and I was like, shit, that shit's solid.
How's working with John different than working with other videographers?
It's easy, it's perfect. It's like, he got a good vision, so it's nothing. Like, anything we want to do, we can do it. And 9 times out of 10, it's gonna come out better than what we thought it'd come out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just 'cause we just make shit work. You know what I'm saying? We come up with anything.
What about filming BMX videos versus filming rap videos? How's it different? What do you prefer?
Well, filming a BMX video, it's always location, and when you find that location, it's just put in the work.
Right.
You sit there for whatever amount of hours it takes to get what you got to get, and then you keep it moving. And it's almost the same thing with a rap video, just like more logistics as opposed to like physical effort.
Because there's so many of the spots are things that are hard to get to or something like that? Or?
Exactly, yeah. So it's like you could drive 30 minutes to a location, and you drive 30 minutes to a spot, and like you probably know what the spot's about. Like you get to the spot and it's like you drive to a location to shoot at, and it don't look like how you want it to look, or like it doesn't look like how you imagine it. And then you just fuck. You're like, all right, we can even get these shots, but we know we're not going to use them, so what's the point? I
know that when you did Xavier's Thunderman video, like how many different days did you guys go out filming, and how many shots did you do? Because there was like an insane number of... that's like a big thing when you're doing a rap video in particular, is that you can't really have repetition of the shots because it starts to look really trashy real quick, right?
Yeah, it's difficult, especially when you start cutting it up. It's difficult, so it's like... I think like Thunderman, I don't know. There's I think realistically only like 2 days where we scrapped everything we got in those 2 days.
Well, what happened to the stuff that you really didn't end up wanting to use?
It was like it just didn't work within the vision, So
are you just a perfectionist, or are you just a crazy perfectionist? Because that word does come to mind when I think about you.
I would like to be, I like to imagine myself as one, but I look at the stuff that I did before and I realize it's not perfect.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? I feel like we all could view that the same way as in our own respective categories of what we do. We look at the old shit and we're like, all right, this is what I could have improved on. So it's like, of course, in the moment, I'm trying to make it as perfect as possible, but...
Do you prefer being in the BMX environment or the rap environment, in the sense that like one is insanely physical and one is like not so much, I'm assuming, like, because you're a dude that we all regard you when it comes to filming and everything, is that you're a dude who's super happy to be on the skateboard filming for, well, I don't know about happy, but you always will do it. You'll work hard, like 10 hours a day on the skateboard, killing it. Is that hard? Is that taxing for you at the end of the day, or is that something like that you actually enjoy doing?
It is, but I love it. It's a weird, like, I don't know, man. I'm bringing my man Gabe Brooks. Shout out to Gabe Brooks, man, first off and foremost.
Right.
It's my motherfucking uncle, nigga. And he taught me, the beauty of exerting yourself physically for what you love,
Right.
That's something that he believes truly is like, if you love something, spend your whole life doing it and wear yourself out doing it,
Really?
So
was he a real big early influence on you in terms of like your mentality on riding and everything?
Yeah, technically, this motherfucker influenced me as much as any family member would, because I met him when I was 13.
Yeah.
And I knew him my entire life up until like I was 19, we were working together closely, like almost every day, like every week I would see him, you know, and he'll always have some type of.
He was like the first like pro level dude that you were working with.
Exactly, yeah, you know. So it was like even before he was like recognized as a pro rider, he was like schooling me on different elements of life that I just didn't have, like, you know, someone like teaching me the shit that he was teaching me at that time. You know, like I didn't have like a gangster figure in my life teaching me shit about the streets when I was young. So, you know.
So because you were homeschooled, right? So you didn't necessarily grow up with the typical Long Beach upbringing, right?
Actually, I would say I grew up with more of it because I was homeschooled. I was outside, like, in the streets every day.
Really? But your parents would let you be out in the neighborhood and everything like that? You weren't sheltered as a result of being homeschooled?
Nah, man, because let me break down the whole situation.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So, like, I started getting homeschooled in my freshman year of high school. So I was, like, 15 going into homeschool.
Why was that? Why did that happen?
Mainly because the only high school I got accepted to was one I didn't want to go to. It was called Jordan High.
Well, it was just too gangster or what?
It wasn't even that. It was just like, you know, I got in there and I was like, I wanted to ride. That's what it really boiled down to. You know, young motherfucker.
But what kind of student were you before that and everything? Did you do good in school normally?
I want to say I did great. You know, I got my grade. I had my C's and B's, you know, so I got through it.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't like slacking, but I also wasn't like a fucking, you know, taking notes all the time. But, you know, so I went to homeschool and being out instead of like being in a classroom all the time, it kind of like, it put me in a spot where I was thinking about what do I really want to do in my life early, you know?
Right.
Because I wasn't like thinking about other shit like partying or whatever in high school. I wasn't like.
Because that's the crazy thing is that you were full-time for Vital when you were 15, right?
Yeah.
So were you just always the kind of kid that just would go online and figure out how to do shit at a super young age?
Yeah.
You just were always pretty resourceful?
Yeah.
And so you kind of credit the homeschooling because that gave you more room to breathe and more space to learn and everything?
My circle of kids who I rode with were also all homeschooled. Like, it was like four of us, and we were all homeschooled, you know, so we were always together. And
is that a lot more common, you think, on the West Coast?
Oh, yeah,
well, I don't know if you have perspective for the East Coast.
I think even East Coast, too. Like, the more, like, riders I meet, and I chop it up with them, they talk about how they homeschooled and shit. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's the way to go.
I mean, if you want to ride all the time, it does seem like it kind of makes sense, huh?
Yeah, especially if you want to do something involving the arts or, like, a non-traditional sport like BMX or skateboarding, you know. If you have the personal ambition and the drive to accomplish whatever you want to do,
yeah,
then fucking be homeschooled. Fuck it, you know, just do that. You ain't got to be in the regular system. Just make sure you have a plan.
So
that's what this dude taught me. Make sure you got a plan.
Yeah, what did Nigel teach you? What does he tell you about life if you had to break it down? That's a good one.
Yeah, if there's one thing I can say he taught me over everything is have a plan for everything you're about to do.
Okay.
Have a plan. No matter what even if it's from when you wake up to go to sleep, have a plan for what you finna do.
Right.
From the day to the month to the year, like, plan your shit out. Make sure everything is accounted for and you have every element. So when you know when shit goes wrong, you have either some idea of what to do in that situation, or you fucking just cope with the shit and keep it moving.
Would you say that's a difference between you and a lot of because, you know, you're still really young. You're 22 now, right?
Yeah.
So you're still surrounded by a lot of young people your age, and the average 22-year-old, obviously, we know, doesn't have any kind of clue about what they want to do with their life and everything. Do you think that that's like a big difference that you kind of got from being homeschooled and everything, was just seeing that you know, to be more focused, especially because you've been around people that are a lot older than you?
Right. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So, like, while I was homeschooled, one person I was around a lot was Alfredo. Mencuso, you know, so he would pick me up from my house. He would take me to go filming. I'd be around, like, pros and shit. So
right. And he's a crazy business mind as well. When you're a filmer, are you also part therapist? And how is being, you know, having this sort of like therapist role, or not a therapist, but maybe like it could be comparable to like a sports coach or something like that? Because I know that you work with a lot of different big personalities, and Gabe might be the biggest one because he's a crazy bastard. But then you're working with somebody like Nigel too, and obviously he's being pulled in a million different directions.
No, he can get crazy too.
So that's my question: is how much of the filmer thing is just being a straight up like just people skills, just in order to be able to work with a rider and be able to get good stuff out of them? Is that a responsibility you take upon yourself by holding the camera?
Yeah. No, definitely, at least 50%. And it's something I definitely struggled with when I was younger. You know, it just took me a while to understand. Like, all right, as the filmer, you have to carry multiple personalities. You have to like fulfill multiple roles. You know, you have to be the team captain. You got to lead. You got to, you know, have one person I really respect for that. It's Navaz. You know, straight up.
So you hung out with him and saw how he worked early on?
I barely chopped it up with him one time, and it was at a contest. It was literally like high and by. So I never seen him in like a work environment, but I just know like he just understands it. You know, whether that's part of him being an OG and him doing it forever, or just the way he sees it as opposed to everybody else. Like, I respect him for that. So it's more than just, you know, filming the shit and making it look dope. Like, you have to motivate the rider. You have to know, like, where the spots is at. You have to know what the situation is going to be like when you get there. You have to know how to handle certain things. When security comes, you can't just, like, you have to control, like, everything in the filming situation, because the rider, you know, he's going to be focused on his thing only, and that's how it should be. The rider should only be focused on what he wants to do.
Have you found it difficult transitioning into working with rappers as well, or dealing with all kinds of different stuff? Because you've worked with a lot of bigger names now as well, instead of just BMX people, right?
Disclaimer, the only good rapper I fuck with is Xavier. That's
really? Okay. So you're not interested, or you just haven't had the chance to work with anybody else?
Since I did 2 videos with Xavier, I've had every day I get an email about a music video.
Really?
Every day.
And guys that we've heard of, or just randoms?
I mean, maybe. Because I always check out their SoundCloud, check out their shit, whatever. I haven't worked with nobody else ever since. People come at me money, whatever, but it's like, it's kind of like at the same point I am in BMX. You know, I jumped into the music thing a little bit differently, but I only want to fuck with my homies. I don't care who coming at me with bread, whatever. I just want to work with people I like working with, you know, at the end of the day.
Yeah. Have you had a lot of opportunities to do stuff that you're not really feeling, and you just end up siding with stuff that you are more passionate about instead?
Yeah. I mean, it goes both ways, though. Is
that a tough balance?
It is. Especially as, you know, I get older and I got to start paying for more shit.
Yeah.
You know, eventually you got to start getting the bread in different ways. BMX don't always pay. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's a complicated situation, but at the end of the day, it's a good balance of doing what I love and doing the shit that gets me paid. So.
Yeah. Are a lot of the trips that you've been on through Nigel and filming with him and his boys, is that...
Definitely a significant amount. He took me to places in the world I'd never been to. Israel, Dominican
crazy experiences? Well, let's hear about them, because leaving the country, you know, for a little kid from Long Beach, I'm pretty interested in this. What your first times out of the country were like?
Yeah, okay, so the first one, when I was 18, was to the Dominican Republic. Now, what? I'm trying to think of what story would be appropriate to talk about.
Exactly, that's always the issue, right?
Yeah, it was the Dominican. I mean, but overall, dude, that was my first time out the country, so it was just like, holy shit, like, this is what that's what really opened my eyes to, like, this is what can happen.
Right.
You know, this is what can happen if I focus. You know, if I really do my shit, I can travel the world and do what I love with it and get paid.
How does it feel when you get such a crazy positive reaction on? Are you addicted to that feeling of like putting out a project and just reading all the comments about it, or just seeing?
That's the only thing that keeps me going, dude.
Really? Yeah.
That's it.
Really?
That's it. I don't give a fuck about the bread. I don't give a fuck about looking at this shit myself and being satisfied with it. When I see people that are like pleased with it and they say like, yo, like,
that.
you know what I'm saying? Like when they see it and they're like, holy shit, like,
yeah, they fuck with
I
it.
like the way you put that together. Like, I want to do something like that myself.
A lot of people talk down about the likes and the views and the stuff like that, but I think that when you're a creator or whatever, like, are you looking at, you know, the response you get when you put out a certain project?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I love it all. You know, when they come at me with the negative, I embrace that as well. When it's positive, I embrace that.
Do you have a hard time not getting pissed off?
No, not at all. Not especially when it's from like another. The thing I respect the most is when another filmer has the courage to come at me about something that they feel like they disagree with the way I put something together, the way I did something.
Yo, what filmer has ever come to you and said something like?
Yeah, what are they gonna say?
Said something funny. I would love to know.
Have you ever heard any like serious complaints?
I know a lot of shit talking in BMX. Yeah, motherfuckers always got an opinion about something. So
Nigel just wants to know what people are saying about people other than him. He only knows about the shit they're saying about him. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to know, Hicks.
I respect Nigel, man, because he don't back down from shit. That's one thing too. Is like. It's a different arena that he's dealing with as opposed to like an artistry one, as opposed to like when BMX is a lot more physical than obviously just a filmmaking aspect.
Right.
So, you know, it makes sense when he goes head on with his folks. But for me, it's like, okay, I see your criticism and I just accept it and I make my next shit better.
Right.
I guarantee my next shit gonna be better.
Oh, yeah.
You know, at the end of the day.
That's awesome.
What's up?
This is one thing I was wondering about. Are you just crazy about filming? Are you crazy about editing? Like, what is your actual specific? Because I've heard a lot of people like Charlie say that he doesn't really consider himself much of a filmer. He just loves editing
films
video.
To edit, right?
Yeah, and so he films because he has to. But at the end of the day, the editing is what he really loves. Like, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I respect that viewpoint. I think honestly nowadays, before I definitely would agree with the editing aspect, but now it's like. I like the physical part too. I like to actually get out, get the shots, and do this shit.
Being out for the day.
Exactly. That's the thing that makes me feel like I'm doing something nowadays. When I'm out on the board and I'm filming and I'm actually doing this shit. When I'm editing, you know, that's when I gotta let my brain loose and I sit in the dark ass room from fucking 11 p.m. to 3
Does that shit drive you crazy? Is it an unpleasant experience to sit there for 11 hours in the dark?
It is, because when you're out shooting, you focus on purely the physical aspect. You're like, fuck, I gotta keep moving, I gotta keep going. When you get to the editing room, that's when, like, okay, you're chopping it up, but you also start thinking about, like, what are people gonna say when I drop this?
Right.
You know, that's just unavoidable. Like,
You start
can't-
putting crazy pressure on yourself once you get into that zone.
You can't not think about that shit. You know, it invades your brain. So it's like, it helps you in a way,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's also invasive. You know, it makes you like, oh shit, like I really can't fuck this up. Like I got to put in the extra time. You know?
Adam, you feel like that when you drop videos and stuff?
Yeah, but it's weird, and I probably know where you're coming from too, because, and I think it might be different for a rapper, is that if you make a song, you can play it for motherfuckers and say like, hey, do you like the song? But him at the end of the day, like if he's editing something, you say like, hey, do you like the way I edited this? 99% of people don't know shit about editing, so it's like at the end of the day, it's kind of hard to, you know.
Well, people don't know. A lot of people don't know nothing about mixing music.
Well, exactly, yeah,
Sure,
totally.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Recording music, they don't know what the fuck.
Yeah.
You know, so hey, I understand.
What about the two banger web videos that you done with Nigel? What was like the process on those like, and how did you guys like? Have you guys sat down and said like, yo, we're doing a third one yet, or is it still kind of?
It's in the air.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen at some point. I can guarantee you that it will happen at some
It's
point.
tough to clear the schedules out, right?
The thing that's tough about him is we're literally he's
Other
over here
sides of the
on
country,
the other
yeah.
side of the country, dude. And it's like, this is my dude. Like, if we was together, that's why when we really want to work, he's got to fly me out and situate me for weeks.
Yeah.
Like, we have to sit there for weeks and just work.
And that's why you guys always end up going to Israel together
Shit like
to ride
you
that
know?
one rail.
Yeah, yo.
Right, one real, bro.
Real, but
That's
at the end
what
of
it
the
takes.
Yeah, so like the dynamic between me and him is like there's so much money involved just for us to be able to work together.
Right.
You know? And it always comes from his end on some point. So it's like whether it comes directly like he's from his own pockets, he's funded a lot of the trips that require me to come out there and work with him. Whether it's him or his sponsors, there's always bread coming out at some point.
Yeah.
That's why it's like a year between each of our projects. You know,
Right.
in an ideal world, we'd be dropping some shit every 3 months and they'd be cracked.
But if you guys are going to do a project together starting like tomorrow, are you going to like have a plan in place and say we're going to do this trip, and this
of
trip, and we're going to
Yeah,
have to get this,
absolutely.
you know?
You have to. You got to like have the vision, man. You got to see it all the way through.
Yeah, especially when you're planning everything on the back end.
That's schedule conflicts. You know, Hicks is a busy man nowadays.
He is, yeah, yes.
I'm on my next shit to be different than my last shit. Whether it's better or not is up to the people to decide, but I just need it to be different, you know?
Is it important to you, like, you were using some different types of cameras and everything when we did this OSS promo a couple weeks ago? Like,
Yeah.
what kind of upgrades to your setup have you made just for the tech nerds out there? I might not understand what you're about to say, but you were using some crazy shit, some crazy
Yeah,
stabilization devices.
Yeah, this is a stabilizer.
Shit looks wild. I don't know. He's literally like using a level to balance it before he even does it. It was
Yeah. That's just called a 3-axis gimbal. That's the
Okay.
new wave in
It's a new wave.
in filmmaking.
Nigel can attest to this, that you are an amazing bike rider in your own right. But was there ever a specific moment where you sort of stepped back and were like, oh, I don't care that much about riding on my own and I would rather just focus on filming, or what?
Yeah, when I started getting checks from Vital.
Really?
That's when I was
Even
like,
when you're
all right.
15, 16?
Yeah, I was right about 15.
But what was it that made you say, like, okay, this is what I really care about is doing the filming side of things?
It just like up to a certain point, BMX like it brought you, it brings you the satisfaction that you don't get anywhere else when you're starting from a phase of like 1 to like 6 years. Like them years is irreplaceable by anything. Like,
Yeah,
them
totally.
First 6 years,
when
7
you're just
years,
learning
like,
everything, and then you hit a certain point where it becomes this different thing where you're doing all these things you already know how to do on different stuff.
Exactly.
So
know
you
what
feel
I'm
like you didn't make that transition fully, or what?
saying? No. I wouldn't even say that because I still get great enjoyment. I still ride my bike 2 to 3, 4 times a week. You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's never going nowhere. But when I really like started progressing with my filming and shit, it was like it was like a rebirth for all that. You know, it was like I started feeling all them beautiful feelings again. Where I was like, damn, like I'm doing something amazing with my life again. You know, like I'm actually progressing myself.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it happened at such a rate that I was like, this is what I really want to do.
Was the Brandon Began fall the scariest thing you ever filmed? Definitely the scariest? Because you were on the people don't know, you had your phone with 911 typed in, about to press enter.
Yeah, we still got the audio bit, man.
I told you, I said, press it, call it. And at that moment, he jumped up. So it was funny because you actually filmed the podcast we did with him.
Yeah.
But then he's not here to hear this side of the
wish,
story.
yeah.
But what was that like
That's
from
my
your
dude, man.
perspective?
Shout out Brandon Began. Fucking terrifying, dude. I thought that was the end of his life. I swear to God.
We all, I think, thought that for a second.
Yeah, being there is nothing. There's nothing like watching that shit firsthand, dude. You can watch that clip over and over, but watching it in real life was like, damn, dude. Like, never seen some shit like that. Brandon know what he doing. Respect Brandon, man. You my nigga.
What about Stevie? That was why it was such a roller coaster, because he pulled the trick, and then people don't know that Began just went around right after. And
Began went after, huh? I forget that fact.
yeah. And well, obviously nobody's doing a trick after that happens, or at least I hope not.
Yeah. No, true. But nah, man, I consider Stevie's project one of the most beautiful things I've ever done. Like that shit from start to finish, like I can watch that to this day. I watched it 3 times today. I got watched that
today while you were just preparing for the interview?
no, but I still watch it all the time. That's why, like, that's one of my favorite projects. This dude's second riding with that work, his Thunderman. There's like certain videos that I just watch to get in the zone mentally when I'm about to do anything, you know, and I'll just watch them. Like, regardless of whether they're old or whether they did good, it doesn't matter. It just matters to me. Like, if I'm satisfied with a project, I will watch it over and over and over again. Just take all the notes, whether it's like things about it I don't like, whatever. I soak it all in, you know.
And you couldn't see yourself getting into a rut at this point?
No, I think I'm far from that, honestly, to be honest. And I feel like anyone else who is also doing film and shit, like, you should always understand, like, it don't matter what point you at, you always going to be able to progress.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of what type of artistry you involve yourself in, you never are going to hit a rock bottom. There's always an up you can go from. Do you have any kind of attachment to the physical format, the DVD thing? You never had a DVD come out? Do you look down on that whole... Because you're like a younger filmer that doesn't necessarily have this attachment. Plug Price is my DVD.
Yeah, exactly.
You know that's my shit. Those type of projects is shit I worked on till the end of the day. I don't give a fuck about making some shit that get printed on a DVD.
That's kind of how I feel too. Is I wouldn't be any more proud of that project or any other project if it just came out online.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand the symbolism of it.
Right, exactly.
But it just don't appeal to me in that way where I commit a year of my life to making some shit that might not even get seen as many times as.
And at this point in the game, it's kind of like all that stuff is. It adds brand name value to it and everything in a weird way, but then it's so much harder to get people to see it. It's like, what's the point of making a DVD if dramatically less people are going to see it?
Talk about this college shit, man. I did not go to school. Fuck school.
You didn't.
Nigga.
That's what a ton. That's what we definitely have to cover is that a lot of these kids want to know about school. They want to know about
all these kids,
what they should do. What's your honest opinion? If they're like some 15-year-old kid who wants to be where you're at, what do you recommend that he do?
The realest thing I can say to any kid that really want to do this shit is like, just keep going. Keep going. Even if your last project flop and it get 100 views, and your next one get 10K, your next one get 20, just keep going.
Everybody starts at zero. And even when you have a big network, you know, we all know people that have tons of followers, but they don't, you know, that doesn't mean that every single project that they ever put out is going to be successful or that every video they ever put out is going to do well and stuff like that. And, you know, we all started at zero in terms of our audience and stuff like that. So it's like, you got to just keep going over and over and over, putting out quality stuff if you ever want to do okay.
Yeah, you gotta accept the flops, man. You just gotta embrace the flops and understand why they suck. You have to look at your own shit and like deeply critique it. You know, you got to take in everyone else's critique, and you also have to provide your own. Like, why did this fail? Yeah, you have to understand it. Otherwise, you'll never progress. You know what I'm saying?
And it's tough too because you when you're young, so much of it is just how to act, and when you're young, it's so hard to figure out how to act. You know what I mean? Like,
straight up.
It's tough to figure it out. Like, if you want to be a guy who's filming rap videos, it's like, you got to somehow make these rappers comfortable with being alone with you in an alley and they're yelling at you while you're holding the camera. It's a strange thing to be doing, you know. Or the BMX thing, it's like, you know, sitting there for 6 hours trying to trick over and over. I mean, it's hard to sell somebody on this, to make them feel comfortable in that kind of environment. But
no, true. And another thing I can say is like, someone I seen in the comments had mentioned like, how do you acquire like a diversity in a project? Because someone look at me and they see like all this different shit I do, and it's like you just cannot be scared to go outside the box. Like you can't be scared to like go outside your comfort zone. Another thing this man taught me, like, take every opportunity to come your way. Like, don't be scared of doing some shit because you think your homie's gonna look at you a funny way.
Right.
Like, just completely ignore everything and focus on a goal. Whatever your goal is. If you want to work on more projects, say yes to everything. There's probably shit you don't even realize that's coming your way that you're rejecting because you think it's like outside of your image or you think it's strange for whatever reason. Or if it's money involved or if it's something that could be good for you as far as your progression and your talent as an artist, do it. Just don't even think about it. Just do it. Take it on. If it failed, it failed. Understand why it failed. Keep it moving. You know? That's
what's up. Yeah, there's so many questions about college and stuff. It's like, from your perspective as somebody who didn't go to college, if say things hadn't worked out for you, say you had stayed in school, you were 18, would you have gone that route? Would you have kind of kept just as a way to keep learning about your specific field?
Yeah, I can say like, cause I did. I finished a whole semester. I was going to get an accounting degree. I was going to have a completely different life.
Really?
BMX shit was about to be a rap for me. I was about to be like, fuck it. And you know what the pivotal moment was one day for me? I just finished a test, and then this dude called me up. I was like, yo, you trying to go to Barcelona for 3 days?
Shut up.
Yeah.
3 days?
Yeah, 3 days. You try to come, just come through, chill. You ain't even got. You just bring your camera, film, dump it off to Harrison Boyce.
And that was the first like real trip that you did with Nigel?
And I couldn't make it.
Oh, why
Couldn't make it
not?
because I was in school.
Oh my!
I was like, is this?
You missed a good trip, bro.
I think I remember
Eating
that.
steaks and getting neck massages.
That was
bro.
Get Sylvester era, right?
Yeah.
I remember that fondly because I remember Nigel doing a figgy ride in the hotel room. Remember? Yeah, you could have been there.
man.
That was
Marble
filmed
floors.
long lens. You could have been up in there with the fish.
Yeah, man.
It would
So
have
I
looked
missed-
amazing.
So I missed that shit, you know. But then, like, I had to sit down myself, and I was like, all right, like, this shit is going cool. I had, like, okay grades, whatever, and I was like, all right, I can keep doing this. And I see the entire path my life is going to lead.
Right.
Like, I foresee it right now. Like, I'm going to get my degree. I'll probably get a job in, like, a year, whatever. I'll start making bread. I'm going to be in the office for the next 15 years of my life.
And that's what you're scared of.
That's what I was terrified of, you know? And I was like, I'm never going to touch a camera again, probably. And for a second, I accepted that fact. Like, fuck it, man. Like, this shit ain't working. Like, whatever. I'm just going to do this because it was what my dad wanted. It was like, I felt like I didn't have a choice for a minute. And I had to break free of that.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like nowadays school is like so much more of a choice as opposed to before. It was like, all right, when you grow up.
In the
you hit it.
60s, it was like, this is how you live your life.
Yeah,
You
most
get-
of our
yeah.
parents right here probably is like, you got to go to school.
There's
you know
so
what I'm
much
saying?
less of a guarantee now, too.
Yeah. Now, if you have a fucking plan nowadays, it don't matter what you do. You can get it popping.
So
That's it.
I know that your family has had a huge impact on you and everything.
Yeah, man.
What was the attitude that they put into you from a young kid? Were they putting, because probably a lot of the kids who are talking about college and everything, to them it's weird for them because a lot of their parents want them to go to school and probably want them to pursue more normal things. What did you have that influence, or did you
know
have
what's crazy,
something
bro?
else?
It's like right when I started homeschooling was right when my mom's health started to decline.
Really?
You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
so it was
So-
all the way back then.
So when I was doing the homeschool shit, it was 50% balance my filming shit because I didn't care about nothing.
Right.
You know, I was just like, I need to film and I need to take care of my mom. So my time was literally 50% caretaking my mom, and my dad was out working. My sister Ben moved out at this point, so it was just us three in the house.
Yeah.
You know, my dad was gone pretty much all day, all night working, doing his shit, whatever. And it was up to me. I had to either focus on my shit and keep my mom straight. I'll make her food, get her food, whatever, caretaker. I ain't go into details, whatever.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, that kept me motivated for so long. Just like when you have like things that you prioritize in life and you feel like you don't need to care about anything else in that, it does a fantastic job of keeping you focused.
So you think the fact that you were dealing with all this stuff with your mom made you more motivated?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Because I hit a point where I was like, all I have to do in life is focus on my film shit and keep my mom straight, and I'm good. I don't have to worry about shit else. I don't give a fuck about nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that was it. That was all I kept doing those things well, you know, and that's all I had to worry about for a certain period of time, you know, and eventually I hit a point where I realized, like, her health is beyond my control.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then things started going one way. You know,
It was almost a year ago today, right? That she
yeah,
passed.
just about. Also, a year ago, because you know why it's significant to me is almost exactly 1 month after she passed was when Stevie's edit come out. So that point in my life was so complicated because I was working on two of the biggest projects, Brandon Biggins' OSS, Stevie's OSS, and that was happening at the same time. So I had to balance all this shit, and it was just too overwhelming. So, you know, shit happened, whatever. Mom passed, rest in peace. God bless her heart.
Yeah.
And motherfucking, after that, I was like, what else do I got in my life? My film shit. That's all I can focus on right now.
Yeah.
So I made that Stevie edit the best shit I ever made in my life.
Really? You feel like you put that much of yourself
At
in
that point, yeah, I was like, this is the greatest work I've created to this point. And I'm not going to let it be nothing less because my mom died in vain otherwise. You know what I'm saying?
Was your mom always proud of like you and all the work you were putting in and the kind of jobs you were
Yeah,
getting? Did she make it clear to you that she was proud of you?
By the time I really got to the point where, like, my work was recognizable, her health had deteriorated, bro.
Really?
So she
it was bad
didn't
by
really
then?
fully understand it, but she knew. My mom, she kept the hood in her. She lived in Inglewood for most of her life, and then she was in South Central, and then she came to Long Beach. And before that, she was in Lawndale, whatever. And when I was born, we lived in Crenshaw District for a minute, and then Inglewood, and then Lawndale, and then Long Beach. So, you know, I always encountered, you know, I never really had like a suburb kind of growing up. So I kind of just understood all the aspects of street living. That's why when I met Gabe, I was like, this is someone I need to take notes from.
So when you said he was really like your first like strong gangster hood influence in terms of you understanding that world more, you really mean that? Like you just did you just not fall in with those types of people in terms of where you grew up exactly?
I mean, not necessarily, because even when I was growing up from like 6 to 13, even my little homies was in the hood shit. Like when my dude Miles on the block, he stayed on the corner and shit. His whole family was Bloods and shit. So, like, I kind of knew what gangbanging was about before, you know, Gabe, obviously.
Were you feel lucky that you weren't involved with it or that you didn't have to get wrapped up in that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of like a miracle that I didn't. Because
exactly.
all the factors pointed to me going down that point. All the people that I was associated with before I started riding BMX, all the people I was around. You know, my family was already crazy at that point. You know, I was already dealing with shit before my mom's health started even deteriorating.
Right.
So it was like I was already like outside, like in the street on my bike, dealing with all these folks, but I just happened to circumvent it because I just kind of knew better.
You just knew you had a little bit better head on your shoulders?
At the end of the day, I really attribute it to being lucky.
Really? You think luck is a big factor in your whole...
Absolutely. It's
Really?
coming down to everything, dude.
That's interesting.
Even from whether anyone watching this regards me as being someone talented in filmmaking, I attribute over half of this shit to luck, man. It's
Really?
straight up, yeah. Half of the opportunities
luck
I
always
got,
has to come
being
into
work
play.
with this dude, working with you, working with him, luck. You know, luck and chance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What's your overall your main theory that you use in terms of filming? Because you're a dude who's known for getting crazy close in terms of the fish stuff. Is that something that you take an extra special level of pride in?
Yeah, hell yeah. Don't give a fuck. Don't be scared to get hit.
Nigel, you ever get scared of this when you have the camera directly under your front wheel?
Not at all. I'm like, it's your camera, bro. You don't get that close. Do what you gotta do. I'm gonna get this clip though.
Yeah, he gonna do his shit. I do my shit. That's just how
You
it
ever
goes.
break a fisheye off while filming?
Nah, shit, nigga.
But I know you broke a fisheye filming him in the mosh pit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yo, I
yeah.
broke a 35 1.4. That's...
Is that expensive?
Whoever listening gonna be like, damn, the nigga broke a 35. Yes, like, fuck, yeah.
He was extra ballsy with that one. Getting
Warehouse.
warehouse show getting right down in the mosh pit. That's scary
I
shit.
was
Like,
in the Vicks. Go watch the Xavier Wulf doc. If you listen to this, click to that. It's gonna be in the sidebar.
let's talk about that for a second. What was it like? Because that was probably a lot of people's first introduction, or even people who find out about Xavier right now. They go on YouTube, they type in Xavier Wulf. It's the OSS documentary about him. It was one of the first things that come out.
project.
Was
Crazy.
I love that shit, dude. That was one of the most fun times of my life, shooting that shit. Just knock it. That was like, because that was, in filmmaking, you have to understand that the payoff is never really going to be clear until you finish the project and you look at it and you see the results. The whole time in between that is going to be like, there's going to be times where you ask yourself, like, what the fuck am I doing this for?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what the project is. Not necessarily that one, but like all of them. You're gonna hit that point, but you have to keep pushing through it because you know the end result. That was literally a year in the making.
Right.
And realistically, only like 10 days of shooting it when you count them all up. Maybe like 11, something like that.
Why is it so hard to meet up with rappers? What is this?
This nigga, man, he's so damn hard to get a hold of. But at the same time, it's both of us, man. Yeah, you know, schedule shit. You know, this is how shit goes, scheduling shit. But
That's one thing I've always like noticed with you is that when it comes to you filming anything, like anytime that you're filming being in a TV or whatever, it's like you're always just looking for that one tiny shot, that one split second where everything looks perfect.
Yeah.
And that's like something that you, I think, are really big on, is that you cut things together so tightly that you just want that 1 second where everything looks right and the sun is blasting through.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know, is that how you think of it? I think that even you thought of BMX videos like music videos before you started doing music videos in a way. And that's probably a lot of why he was attracted to your shit and stuff, because he has more of a overall perspective on what a music video looks like in a BMX video and everything else.
There's shit that like he would like, because there's times where I would just be staying with Nigel for like weeks on end. Like I'll be staying in his crib. Like I don't think anyone, he don't fuck with people. I can tell you that right
It's
now.
just you, yeah.
He don't fuck with people. So the fact that I was able to do that is pretty
Yeah, yeah.
insane. But he would like, we would be chilling, you know. I'd be showing me shit on his laptop and he'd be like, look at this shit. This shit is dope. And I would completely not understand it at all because I just didn't like comprehend it at that point in time. You know, it'd take time for it to sink in. Like one of the first things he showed me was A$AP Ferg, Put In Work. When that song first dropped, he made me listen to it and he was like, this shit is dope, dude. Like, understand it.
But wait, so you didn't have a perspective on what rap videos were good and which
Not
rap videos were...
necessarily, no.
Oh, okay, so you hadn't considered the overlap with BMX filming, yeah.
Exactly.
'Cause that is a great video, yeah.
When I look back at it, I'm like, this shit is fucking dope.
Yeah.
Like, this shit is hard. But when I was looking at it at the time, I was like, what the fuck am I watching? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, a lot of it is retrospect, but... yeah, I mean, the correlation between shooting BMX and shooting music videos is clear. Like when I started shooting shit with Xavier, it just felt natural.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it felt like it felt such like when I was putting together his music video for Thunderman, it kind of felt like a BMX edit in a weird way. I don't know how to like really describe it, but it did. It made sense in the same way when I was cutting it. And then when I put it out and people liked it, I was like, all right, like I got the format. Like now I can do this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah. What about filming with Chad Kerley? He's somebody who kind of
we
called you in. How much of filming have you done for him? It's supposed to be a TCU exclusive.
We've been working. It's still gonna be one, y'all.
Yeah.
I still get messages to this day on Instagram, Tumblr. When that coming out? It's coming coming out soon, man. And yeah, that's another dude I respect because he gets it. Yeah, I only want to put myself around BMX riders who get it at this point, and that's a very small, select amount of folks. You know, not to like put nobody on blast, put no one on the bus, but it's like, cause you know everybody got their own cliques at this point. And I respect that.
Yeah.
And you know, if you want to fuck with me, you got to understand the same shit that I'm about, which is the same shit everybody in this room is about. At the end of the day, progressing our shit. If you have a vision, you just need whatever tool is accessible to you to make it happen.
We got to get this one out of the way. Will you ever film a BMX video yourself, like a full video? You got 2 clips on Plug Prices, and you put them both on Instagram and didn't put them in the video. What's up with that? We wanted them to put them in there. The shit was good.
I just don't give a fuck no more, man. That's what it boils down to.
You just don't want to put yourself out there like that anymore?
I just don't care, dude. I understand where my passion, my vision is at. It's where the filmmaking is at.
That's cool, though. You're very young to have made such a decision.
Yeah, I mean, I respect the BMX hustle completely. That's why I still embrace myself in it. I just like to, you know, spectate as opposed to partake.
Okay. You know, what's the biggest thing you ever 180 barred? A kid asked that. He wants to know, and I thought that was a pretty good question.
Yeah, okay. Biggest 180 bar. Shit, I don't know. I don't know.
Somebody said, how'd you meet Adam?
How the fuck did I meet you? I met you at the low-tech house through Rich.
Yeah.
Through Rich or through Rich?
At the old OSS house. And you know what I thought was funny is that he was only 15 and he came over and somebody was doing drugs in the room. And I remember him talking about it later and being like, yo, I walked in that room and I saw this motherfucker doing this and I didn't know what the fuck to think. And I thought that was funny that you were like a 15-year-old kid from Long Beach and that a bunch of shitty white boys had to be the ones to inform you about all the bad shit going on out there in life.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. Don't blame me. I wasn't doing it.
Yeah, right.
Nigel doesn't buy it.
No, I remember when I did meet you, though, I was still working for Vital, so I was mad intimidated. I was like, this motherfucker's going to hate me.
Oh, you thought I was going to bully you or something?
Yeah, I was like, this motherfucker's going to hate me. So, yeah, because I was still working for Vital at that time. And
no, if anything, if I meet a Vital employee, I want to be super extra nice to them so that when they're in the Vital group chat, they could be like, oh, maybe he's not so bad. With the filming, though, a lot of the shit just comes straight up down to, like, you have to practice a lot. And you have to be willing to, like, you know, really, really try and, like, really have that open-minded, like, scientific mind state where you film something fish 10 times and then you look at it every single time and you say, like, okay, this one looks the best, so I guess I should keep filming it like this. Or, you know, even, like, I know some established filmers and stuff who still don't have very good basics, which is, I think is, you know, myself probably included, but it's like they don't have that mind state of, like, let's just experiment and try and just see how the shit looks, you know?
Yeah. I think... a lot of it is, I mean, always going to boil down to patience, you know? Filmmaking is just it's a patient thing. Like, it's a patient art. You have to have a lot of patience with it, you know? It's from the physical aspect to, like, you have to be willing to exert yourself for X amount of hours if you want to do this BMX shit and just deal with it and not complain because this is your job. Like, this is what you came here to do. In the word of fucking David Grant, we came here for this.
This is what we came here for.
This is what we came for, yeah.
I love that
story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, if you understand, like, all that shit, like, that's part of your title as a filmmaker. You have to be the team captain. You have to be the most energetic. You have to be the most committed. You have to have the most endurance. Like, and if you ain't ready for that, then step down.
How do girls react when you tell them you're a filmer?
There is no type of pride to that.
They don't care at all?
There's nothing.
Tell me a little bit about Maestro, too, because I know you met him through Nigel.
Yeah.
But he's somebody who put you on in the game a lot, too. Got you a lot of work and everything. What's his whole deal? I know it a little bit, but...
First off, I could just say that he is an excellent person. Like, he taught me so much about being a good person. Like, when I mentioned earlier, like, you can't, like, tell someone to be a good person. Just by being around him, like, and studying the way he moves and, like, his mannerisms, it taught me a lot about business and life. You know, just, like, how to handle people. Like, I've never seen someone so masterful around handling people as him.
Really?
So
that's interesting. Like, what kind of stuff? Like, he just has really good people skills?
Amazing. Like, he's just I hate to be super vague, but he's just a good person. You know, when you're around someone, you're like, damn, like, that's a good dude.
It goes a long way. I think people have that feeling about you, too, though. I think when people meet you, they're kind of like, no, Hicks is a cool-ass dude. They just like you, so that goes a long way.
Yeah, you know, it's like, if you are genuine, you have to try to be.
Have you always considered, this is an observation I had about you one time in Mixed Company where I told somebody that Hicks is the kind of guy who's really good at sitting back and observing everything going on around him and learning from it. And that's just always the feeling I had about you is that when you're around me and a bunch of crazy-ass people and we're having some wild-ass conversation, that you're more likely to be sitting there listening and actually thinking about it and actually understanding rather than just diving in and trying to fucking involve yourself right away. True or false?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You're a watcher.
Yeah.
That's why I think you like Kendrick Lamar so much. He's his album, it's like he's observing. You know, he's not wrapped up in the shit.
Yeah, I think that's where the best artistry comes from, is those who observe constantly, you know, and not always trying to be the voice of whatever. If you're able to sit back, absorb everything, and then make your own piece about what you see and how you feel, that's where the greatest works come from, you know?
That's amazing. Xavier, Nigel, you guys got any questions for John Hicks to stand out? We just hit the 1 hour mark, roughly.
Yeah, we can cut this shit off soon. I just want to say these my niggas, man. My niggas, dude.
You love these guys, right?
Hell yeah.
I got a question, like, has there ever been a time where you had to sacrifice money over creativity and vice versa, creativity over money? With, like, any
That's a
of your
good
projects?
question, yeah.
That's a wonderful question.
That's a great question.
Yeah. I mean, as far as individual situations, it's tough to say because, like, I feel like anyone who endeavors upon being a BMX filmer has to understand there's very little fame and even less money involved in doing it. You have to do it for yourself first and for nobody and nothing else. You have to want it. You know what I'm saying? You have to want to make these videos for yourself, and that's it. Not for the people, not for the rider, not for the company involved, for you. Otherwise, you won't make it through, and it won't be your best piece, period. Like, it's not going to be what you want it to be unless your motivation comes internally. Kids who want to do more shit than just film BMX, do more shit than filming BMX. You have a homie who makes music, right? Even if he's garbage as hell or if he's amazing, make some shit with him. Yeah. You know, that's the only way both of y'all is going to progress. Just start working.
Try shit.
You know,
shit.
If you have a homie who is super committed to the riding shit and who will do anything to make it happen for y'all to work together, work with him.
Yeah.
You know, just follow the opportunity and see where it goes, because who knows? Maybe it'll change your life.
Yo, Hicks, do you have any regrets, any moves you did that you were like, damn, I should have definitely...
I would have skipped college completely. I would have never gone back to home. I wouldn't have gone back to high school for the 1 year that I did. I went back for my senior year, and it was a mistake. Stupid. Would have kept filming. I would have skipped college completely. I would have filmed every day of my life while I was young and I had the opportunity to, and I would have done nothing else. I would commit myself completely to my passion and absolutely nothing else, because I would be in a different spot. I'm not mad at the spot I'm in now, but I could have been somewhere even greater. So I got to say, if you're young and you realize you have a passion in something, or you have potential to do something great with your life, with an art or anything, literally anything, commit your entire life to it now, right now, because you're not going to get that time back.
That was excellent. I feel like I just got like a Gabe Brooks speech right there. Gabe Brooks is always hitting you over the head with a speech like that. That was beautiful.
Yeah, I learned from the best, dude.
Yeah.
I learned from some of the greats, man. That's all I can say.
Well, all I can really say is that John Hicks, the proof is in the pudding that he's got these two guys and myself vying for his time all the time. We're always trying to work with him because he's just one of the best filmers in the game, one of the best people to work with.
Best filmer in the game. How do you feel about that title, John?
Yeah, some people throw that at you. They just love you so much. And but that's why I say I think a lot of it's personality-based, because there's something about Hicks that when he's filming you, you feel like you're the only person on earth. Like, he really just wants to make you look as good as possible, and I think that goes a long way.
He be on it, man.
Yeah.
That's
Take
right,
his
man.
time doing his thing, bro. It's
Are you
fun.
concerned about the other filmers in the game who are going to feel a certain type of way about that?
Oh, I wasn't concerned. Is absolutely wrong.
That's just one man's opinion.
That,
you know?
yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, no. I mean, whoever can have their opinions on what I do and what they do, all I want to do is see more filmers thrive and more of them succeed and more of them take their art to the next level. You know, I want to see more filmers doing what I'm doing. Not saying there's none that aren't, but I want to see more taking this shit and broadening.
How do people get in contact with you? What's the John Hicks contact?
Yeah, man.
I've actually been asked to do this interview a lot, so I'm glad that we finally got it done. And this was my idea. I said, we're only going to do your interview if we can get Nigel and Xavier to be the co-hosts. And then you made it happen like 5 days later, which I did not expect.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, man. Coordinate my dudes, man.
Timing is good money.
And we didn't even let them talk that much. They weren't, they weren't trying to. They were more here to observe and to lend the credence to you. You know.
Yeah, this is amazing. This is
Hey.
John Hicks, man. One of a kind guy.
Yeah, man, dog. Thanks to everybody, man. Thanks, ONSOMESHIT, Adam. Thanks, Alfredo. Thanks, Xavier. Thanks, Nigel, for coming through. Thanks, Scott, for filming, man. Thank the kids that watch my shit, man. Thank y'all the most, because y'all the only reason I still do this
Well,
shit.
there's a lot of those kids, too. You have many million plus view projects out there. Hundreds of thousands. Jeez.
Yeah, there's some things popping. There's some things in the works. But just know, I read through them comments, man. Y'all the reason when I see some shit like John Hicks, my favorite filmer, that's why I keep doing this shit, man. Straight up.
That's beautiful. All right. Thank you very much to John Hicks. All the kids out there, subscribe to the Come Up. Thank you to Scott for filming. Thank you for Taylor for sitting in. Xavier, Nigel, Sylvester for holding it down with the co-host position. I never thought, because I've interviewed both of you, and I never thought that either of you would be my co-host. Oh, no, he was actually the co-host for the Big Daddy one.
Yeah.
And I remember some kid commented saying,
got up and left, like, what about?
yeah, some kid commented saying, like, look at this idiot Xavier just sitting there smoking. He was all, oh my God, at the last minute he comes up. That's amazing. He's smelling the backwoods in the PBR.
Yo, this
All right, the Come Up, nigga, paradise.
I'm not the only white
Fuck
guy at
with
the
us.
table anymore. Now we got another white guy right here. Man.
Yeah.
All right. This has been TCU TV with the one and only John Hicks featuring Tony the Cat, Nigel Sylvester, Xavier Wulf. Thank you very much to everybody for listening. Subscribe to the Come Up. Holler at John Hicks on Instagram. Hire him to film your wedding. Break the bread out. It's happening.
Bar mitzvah.
We're doing it. Your bar mitzvah. Ja Rule's playing. John Hicks is filming. It's happening. All right. Thank you very much to everybody out there. I really appreciate it.